So I'm trying this again. I'm trying this again. I'm Suzanne Tidkemeyer. Hopefully, some of you will come back to me here very shortly. It's not raining yet. I am looking at black clouds. I think what's going to happen is that I think we're going to see a storm here. But I don't think that's why I'm having bad internet. The internet here it just sucks because it's copper wire and we don't have fiber optics, and I can't even get signed up with the company that offers, yeah, for the second part, fiber optics, because the um the line that divides service area from non-service area is right down the middle of my road. I'm waiting for them to tell us, yes, we can accommodate you. So it's a waiting game for me. So you got to see my husband in action. He's very low-key, very mild-mannered. We're kind of opposites in a lot of different ways. He's an economist. That's why he's eating his pizza. So he just ran off to eat his pineapple pizza, which I wish Sue M was here because I would be picking at her like I did yesterday. I posted a big picture of myself with a plate full of pizza, eating it. So this is the part of my chat I know I cannot monetize in any way, shape, or form because I'm gonna, yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it. He just talked about a small amount of what went on. He was never part of really, hey, dog with letters. You disapprove. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's what he brought home the other day from our version of Costco, which is Price Mart here. He brought home a Kirkwood pizza that was pineapple and ham. He loves that. Yeah, that happens to me too when I have different accounts of different things. I always end up with the wrong account, the wrong thing. So today, I kind of wanted to talk about what's been going on with Without a Crystal Ball with Katie Joy Paulson, because it's pretty interesting. I'm doing fine, Angela. I hope you guys are all doing well today too. Kirkland, I meant to say, not Kirkwood. That's where my brain is going. The thing I wanted to talk about with Katie Joy, Without a Crystal Ball. Without a crystal ball. There's someone we know sings. Yesterday saw some really strange happenings for her. She completely firebombed her entire Twitter. She took every single video out of her second YouTube account, Katie Joy Live. She unmembered all the memberships, all the subscribers she had. And she went to, yeah. And she went and to her Instagram and deleted a bunch of stuff. Don't you think that there's some kind of, I don't want to say lawsuit, but maybe a threat of a lawsuit behind all that? Did she just settle with Tate Westbrook? I don't know, but I think that's what we're seeing here. I think that's exactly what's going on with this stuff. Hey, Kentucky. I was pretty astounded to see all that stuff. And then for her to turn around and do a live where her poor son was yelling, and then she turned around and shut the door on him. It blows my mind. I just, for the life of me, cannot understand doing that to your child. I think everyone, Duggar, I think that someone told her to do this. Now, who it is, whether it was Kathy Westbrook or somebody else, I don't know. I have some theories about it. I'm going to wait and see if they play out, if she actually has to make some kind of announcement. It could be. I'm going to have to look at her new account, Carolyn Iron Will's new account. I haven't had a chance. I've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and I just haven't had a chance. I've almost wanted to brag on some of the stuff I have going on now. Tomorrow I have an interview with somebody from a major publication, and I have a couple of others of those lined up. Everybody wants to talk about the Duggars. Everybody wants to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. Apparently, that would be me. Apparently, even though I don't think I possibly know any more than some of the other people. It's something I've followed for a long, long time since writing about Quiverful. So anyway, I think that it had something to do with somebody. And it's very reminiscent of a certain troll I used to have that had their lawyer send me a cease and desist with a long list of stuff that they wanted me to take down that had nothing to do with them. And I took down the things that had to do with them, and that was it. I told their attorney, I said, I am not willing to take down any more than that. None of this other stuff has to do with her. I'm tired of the Duggars, too. I am tired of the Duggars. I am very tired of them. That's why I haven't been making content about them. But there are some publications that are preparing some pretty in-depth profiles about what has happened and why it has happened that I'm speaking with right now. There was also a reality television show. I had to actually say no because they're not. The way that they're presenting it, it sounds like they're trying to exploit people leaving. And when you leave these religions, and you just heard my husband on the other stream, when you leave, it's really hard. And he had an easy transition of it. They accepted him there. Nobody at the old church threw rocks at him or called him filthy names. They saved that all for me. And the only thing I can think, it's because I was involved with everything up there, and he was not involved with much of anything. You heard him say he had a book he wanted to teach their men's group, and they wouldn't let him do it. That was just the kind of thing they would do to him on a regular basis. Can't imagine being around them as neighbors who don't share their philosophy of life. Cheryl, same. It's really hard. I don't know. Angela's asking if I know it's true that Jim Bob kicked Kendra's family out of their home. I haven't heard anything about that. But like I said, I haven't really been watching the Duggars much lately at all since I started writing for NLQ because I got really fed up with it. Every time you would post about the Duggars there, what would happen is you'd have an influx of what I used to call Duggar huggers. They always had something to say that was not good. They were always complaining. They were always accusing people of being the devil's handmaiden. If you said anything that was critical about the Duggars in the least. And I just thought it was kind of funny because when it came out what Josh had done to his sisters when he was a teenager, they all excused it and said, well, it's no different than playing doctor. But the minute it came out, he had a Ashley Madison account. Some of these same people were like, execute him. He's cheating on his wife. He's terrible. He's demon-addled. And hey, Noel. And I kind of was like, well, you know something here? I have a lot more sympathy for him having an Ashley Madison account and think that's way more normal than what he did to his sisters. That's absolutely not normal at all. That's not something that people do. And for them to pretend, I'm sure they did too, Cheryl. I'm sure that they thought it was something different than playing doctor. Some of them are just ridiculous. Now, I also can't close out today without talking about the red hot mess that happened yesterday. Aaron, EKC People Sucks, tried to engage a group of people from another creator's live stream and resolve some things yesterday. I was in her chat. I watched it as long as I could before I got all sleepy and had to go to bed. And all I can say is it was just crazy. You know, I've told Aaron before and others that when people are determined to dislike you, there's not much you can do to change their minds. And it's kind of an exercise in foolishness to try to do that. They all hate her now because of her interviewing with Real Entertainment News. You know, that's her right. She wants to do that. She's welcome to do that. Now, they don't like Real Entertainment News. And They were making it very, very clear. Yeah. So I think that if you have run up against somebody like that, or a group like that, or you're somebody like Real Entertainment News that seems to piss off a large swath of YouTube creators, it's probably just best just to let them hate you. Just let them go on. Don't respond. Don't fight. Because there's nothing that'll be accomplished. They still hold their views, and you're just going to be frustrated and wasting your time. I really think that. And I think that if Real would go ahead and follow his buddy BX Beast Boy, you know, who I've laughed over and called him a sad fish a bunch of times because he has sad fish. If he would just do what BX Beast Boy suggested, follow his own content instead of trying to make content off everybody else by fighting with him, he would do well. I mean, I've looked at his food videos. They're actually pretty interesting. But some of the other stuff, just not my cup of tea. And that's nothing against him. That's just what he is, and that's his channel. He runs it the way he wants. I don't understand why you would do that. Why would you fight with people to raise engagement? I think that's kind of silly. But that's just me. I don't like the things he said about women. And I've been vocal about that. I've told him that in an email that he did not respond to, by the way. And I think that he needs to rethink how he's talking about women. Hey, Pearl Girl, love you too. So that needs to happen. He needs to make that shift. We're in 2021. Nobody talks about women like that anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to block Aaron either for trying to be friends with him. I mean, she was trying to build a bridge and understand him and all that. And I can respect that. Not every creator is going to be everybody's cup of tea. There are some people I watch, there's some people I don't watch, and I probably never will. I don't watch Katie Joy. I know it probably blows your mind. I wait till other people put up clips and then I look at the other stuff. I don't want to sit through 3 or 4 hour live stream just to hear her say the one little snippet of crazy stuff that I'm like, oh no. Or to hear her completely misuse my content from NLQ on Quiverful, like saying that the Pearls book called for beating kids with pipes, and then she changed it to glue sticks, when the book actually says 1/4 inch plastic plumbing line is what you should be spanking your child with. Now, I'm not a fan of spanking. I've seen what it can do. I've seen enough statistics on what happens when kids get beaten on a regular basis, and I just don't think it's ever a good idea. There's always different ways to handle it. You know, one of the things I used to do that was a killer to my kids to discipline them is take away all chargers for electronics. That's a big one. Or you take away controllers for the video game. You have to hit the kid where they're living, the thing that they really love the most to do the most effective. And that's way worse than spanking anybody. So there you go. Cheryl, I didn't see you on there, but I wasn't really watching the chat as strongly as I could. I was listening to Aaron. I was doing other stuff because I always have other stuff I'm working on. I like how, yeah, same here, Do Good Letters. I love how EKC is respectful to everyone, whether or not she agrees with them. We can be adults. Just move on if you don't care for someone. I could not have summed that up better, Do Good Letters. That's exactly right. Be an adult, man up. Don't go into these long fighting spells. It just becomes very ridiculous after a while. You're going, what? Oh, so I watched a lot of this and just laughed. I was really sad last night because I like Aaron. I like Dottie, especially Dottie. I don't see how anybody can't like Dottie. She's a sweetheart. She has done so much to stay out of the messier aspects of YouTube. As for me, the only really messy aspect you're ever going to find me in anymore is when I'm talking about without a box of Kleenex. Because she is just she's all kinds of messy and she's harming people. And it does upset me that she keeps talking about SA. Last night she was back to talking about S Long yet again. I understand. She has talked again about the family. I can't think of the name of the family where they unadopted one of their children because he had some significant issues going on. The Stoffers, she talked about them again. I'm not sure that any of this does any good to be talking about some of these people like she does, because clearly these are families that are in crisis. Throwing rocks is definitely not going to help. That's one of my problems with all of her Duggar coverage now. She's going after the sisters, she's going after the victims, she's going after the parents. I don't like Jim Bob Duggar. There's not much about him I like at all. But I'm going to say this. He and the rest of the family, they are going through a huge ordeal right now. They all are. You can't tell me the family is not suffering, because it's pretty obvious the family is suffering from everything that's going on. And it's really not right to drag them in the middle of it. Now, if you want to criticize Jim Bob and Michelle for not getting him the proper kind of help after the first incident, sure, that's one thing. But to sit there and overanalyze every single teeny tiny little detail and every unsaid thing, it just gets overwhelming after a while. I think we should just pray for or send positive vibes to them and just sit back and let justice do what it's supposed to do. You know, there's an old saying about justice grinding finely and taking time. I think with this, it really fits, because look, November 2019 is when Homeland Security came in and investigated and raided and did all this stuff. And now we have the arrest. I don't know much, but I know the feds take their time until they have all their I's dotted and all their T's crossed. They don't indict somebody until they have enough to convict them. And I'm pretty sure they have enough to convict him. Now, how long he'll go away, who knows? Who knows? It's Arkansas. That jury could go either way. There are a lot of very liberal people in that area that I don't know how they're going to react to this. There are a lot of very conservative people. We're just going to have to wait and see what the jury says. It must be hell for all the family, close and extended. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, Cheryl. They do have some culpability as parents. I agree with you there. But he's making choices on his own. He's 33 years old now, I think. He's the same age as my son, and I just can't imagine that, because my 33-year-old son is still running around playing video games and drinking craft beer and doing the I'm not ready to settle down routine. And I know a lot of young men in his age group are like that, but because Josh was put in this environment, raised in it, where he was not allowed to feel his emotions, he was not allowed to have a sexuality at all. His sexuality was repressed. If you repress things, this is what you're going to get. If you repress sexuality, you were going to get these kind of things happening. That's just nutty. They do have, I've seen it from 97 to 99% win rate. They are notorious for only going after those cases they can win. Now, I can't blame them. If I were them, I would do the same damn thing. I mean, they have the facilities to be able to crawl through pretty much anything. I wouldn't be fighting over any of this if I were her. She acts like her life is over when people bother her on Twitter and that she's thinking about taking her life. Imagine if she had a real crisis. She still talks about V's birth 8 years later. Pearl Girl, I think she needs therapy for that. No, anyone that has that kind of angst after any family incident like that, they really need therapy. Because you can't tell me that what she's feeling does not have a direct impact on that child's life and how she treats him. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did, and it does to this day. And I don't want that. I want her to be a good mom to her son. Shutting the door and him yelling is not being a good mom. You've just got to go find out what's going on. And she hasn't worked on anything with a therapist. You're right, Pearl Girl. I'm sure she hasn't. I mean, it needs to happen. She needs to do that. Cheryl, I'm sad for them all too. All those Duggar kids. They are going to have to change their names to get away from this mess. They're always going to be those kids that somebody's going to say, hey, was it your brother? Was it your brother convicted or whatever? Didn't this happen to you? I feel really bad for them. I don't like their theology, but it doesn't mean I don't like them. And I don't have sympathy, empathy, and feel very bad for them. And I think when people share maps of where other people are living and publish their address and all of that nonsense, they're putting them at risk. They're putting them at extreme risk. And I feel worried for their safety. It's the other side too that doesn't like them. So the thing with Josh that I think that she's doing that's extremely dangerous is egging on people and saying all the stuff about where he is staying right now. He's living with some friends of Jim Bob's. She's exposed their names. She's exposed where they live. She's put up a map. I'm just worried that somebody who's maybe not mentally balanced will take it upon themselves to show up with a weapon and do damage. That's the kind of world we're living in now. I mean, whoever thought that, yeah, she did that. Whoever thought the world we'd come to a world where mass shootings are now a routine thing. Last night, my husband and I were talking about the mass shooting that just took place. And it got a little press in CNN and then it was gone. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to live in a world like that. That's one reason why I'm here. To have a gun here, you really have to spend a lot of money. You have to jump through a lot of hoops. You have to go through classes. You have to pay a lot for your handgun license, a whole 9 yards. They just don't hand them out here like they do in the States. And I've got to tell you, I feel 10 trillion% safer here than I ever did in the States. I worry about my kids that are there. I worry about all my friends, particularly when I start reading about the mass shootings and so close to various people that I've known and loved through the years. Here's hoping all of that passes. And if it is a settlement with Tati that she's been involved with, this big meeting she had day before yesterday, that would be a good thing. U.S. gun culture. You can't buy guns here. Cheryl, I know that. With most nations in the world now, most developed nations, it's either impossible or very difficult and very expensive to buy guns. Hey, Atticus. And it probably should be, because I got to tell you, there are some people that that have guns in the States that I think don't need guns. Not everybody. I mean, I can see having a hunting rifle. I can see having a pistol. If that's something you do, you can go pistol shooting and things. I just, for the life of me, can't understand how anybody thinks having an AR-47 outside of law enforcement in the military is a good idea. It's going to turn anything you shoot to hamburger. Yeah. So, yeah, you didn't expect a rant on gun control, did you? And here's another thing. If we can't get the guns in the States, how about we regulate who buys ammo? Why don't we make the ammo a little harder to get? And the guns are out there. Who knows? But the gun culture in the U.S. is scaring the crap out of me right now. So if we can come up with a way for serious, normal people who want to have guns safely, so be it. but there are a whole lot of wackos out there that have them that have no business with them. Anyway, so that's my rant. I'm ranting today. Like I said, it's just been one thing or another. And stay positive, stay away from people that want to drag you into a street fight. You don't have to fight with anybody. That's one thing I've learned that I can honestly say in my 60s is I don't fight with people. I just don't feel any point in it. It's a little bit different with all of it's a little bit different with all of my coverage of Katie Joy. Oh, Nitwit, thank you so much. It go to my yard fund. Thank you for funding it. So stay sane, stay safe, stay especially safe. Don't let that beer virus get you. Wash your hands. Do whatever they're telling you to do in your part of the world to keep the beer virus away. Liz Arnott, I think that has come back to bite him in the rear end. She said that Jim Bob only cares about Josh. Michelle needed to have only one child. That's one thing that I know about Quiverful is boys are revered, and the first one especially. Good for you, Cheryl. I don't know when I'm going to get my shot, but I'm definitely going for it. My husband's getting his in about a month when he goes to the States. He's going to go back for a week. I'm not going back. I don't have any reason to go back right now. I'll go back in the fall when it's nice and cool there, and I can enjoy the cooler weather and wear my sweaters and have pumpkin spice lattes and all the lovely fall things that I absolutely miss. This place is paradise, but sometimes it'd be nice for a change of weather that wasn't sunny or rainy. And that's the only ones we ever get here in Costa Rica. Sunny or rainy. Yes, Nitwit, I do have to keep my yarn fund going, and I appreciate that so much. I'm 70, so I was on the list for a shot earlier. Cheryl, I should be on the list. I'm going to be 61 in about a week, and I have mast cell. They think I have MS. I've got enough stuff going on. I should have been lined up too, but they're not giving anyone who's not a full resident, the shot yet here. But they're saying you can buy it eventually from the private healthcare providers. They did approve of that. Oh, do good letters. I know you do. I love North Carolina and South Carolina. One of my favorite places is Charleston. It's definitely on my short list of places if we ever decide to leave paradise and come back to the States. And I think that will happen eventually. He's turning 70 this year. So I think eventually we're going to have to sell this place and go. And when that happens, South Carolina, Charleston is definitely on my list of acceptable places. Oh, you're lucky, Cheryl. I'm working on my residency package. I'm not done. If I was done and it was in and I'd been paying my caja, I would be getting a shot. I would have gotten a shot last week when they were giving them out to my age group in Villarreal, which is very near here. Villarreal's between me and Tamarindo. And could have gotten one, but not yet. Charleston is a beautiful city. And I just love the whole vibe of it. I just like the people. I like the whole vibe of it. I found a huge quilt shop where they had all kinds of fabric, and I went and raided all their discounted fabric. I bought all kinds of stuff when I was there. What happens with us, how I even got to see Charleston was until coronavirus hit, since I'm not going to monetize this, I can use the real words. Until coronavirus hit, we were going every year for Christmas. My daughter would pick a place for us all to go. We'd pick some place that none of us had been to before that we wanted to see. It was Cocoa Beach one year. It was Charleston another year. And did we go somewhere else? I can't remember. But anyway, those two I know for sure we've done. We've been here 3 years. We pick a place that none of us have gone and we go there for Christmas. We go there for Christmas week. Christmas week here is miserable. There's wall-to-wall traffic. There's wall-to-wall traffic so bad. We had a guy die of a heart attack because they couldn't get him out from the clinic in Tamarindo to the airfield out here where I live, which was a matter of like a couple of miles. But when you have backed up traffic and it's not moving, because their roads were not meant for that many. Cheryl, I've done that too. The best crochet magazines all come out of the UK. I don't know why. So whenever I go stateside, I grab those magazines. Now I'm wondering if I should just go ahead and subscribe to them and have them shipped to me here in Costa Rica. It'll probably be cheaper in the long run. I didn't even know that existed, Amanda. I'm going to have to look that up, the show about the rich kids of Charleston. Charleston is also where they film one of my favorite television shows now, The Righteous Gemstones. And right now they're filming season 2. I'm going to have to put up a couple of pictures that were shared in Reddit, the showing things they're doing for season 2. And I just laugh so hard. Uncle Baby Billy's coming back. Keith is coming back. Everybody's coming back. Southern Charm. Okay. I will have to take a look at that. Yeah, Cheryl, they do. The English have the best crochet magazines, and I'm not really even sure how that happens. And I like all the little trinkets they give you when you buy them. That's always awesome. You can never have too many little crochet things. In fact, I was looking around here. I got my portable crochet hooks I got from them. So anyway, that's about all I'm going to say today. I'm sorry that it started buffering earlier when I had my husband, but I figured I would grab him for a few minutes to talk a little bit about our experience. He was lucky he didn't get quite the pushback and horrible constant beaten up emotionally that I suffered, but we got out. And that's one of the things I want to encourage anybody who's watching, who is part of one of these high demand churches with problematic theology. You could always reach out to me if you're trying to get out. I've helped a number of people get out of these cult type churches. It's not easy. You need friends on the outside, but you got to be sure about what you're doing. You got to be sure this is what you want. I'll have to look for those shows too. Newer shows aren't on TV here. Cheryl, it's the same thing here. I was telling somebody earlier, I am watching Handmaid's Tale. I'm watching that on a streaming service because Costa Rica is still re-showing season 1. They've shown it, I think, 3 years in a row. And we haven't had season 2, much less 3 or 4. So my watching of the show has been very out of sequence. I need to go back and just completely watch it in sequence. I don't know if I can do that because it's one of those shows that's really super hard to watch. It tugs at your heartstrings. This week for me was particularly hard because it showed June trying to adjust life on the outside. And as hard as it would be for June, getting out of that atmosphere to total freedom, it's kind of a good analogy for what it's like when you leave a high demand religious organization, a high demand cult. When you leave that, you're so triggered to the point where she was looking at the beer, was it, or the wine, or was it water that had the emblem that looked like the Guardians, and she just went into meltdown. I have found myself throwing up in the bushes, just being triggered by hearing a worship song in a store, all kinds of things through the year. I'm not as triggered as I once was. The news on Josh has triggered me, and some of the coverage of it has triggered me horribly. But most of it has passed for me now. I know there'll probably always be some things like that. Bravo. Yes, we have Bravo here, but it's a little behind. And my husband and I, he's not going to tell you this, but his guilty pleasure and mine too that we watch is Love After Lockup. That's probably the only which you would call reality or trash TV we watch. We watch it together every Saturday morning. It is our routine. And it's like, are you ready to watch Love After Lockup? Heck yeah. let's pull up the streaming service and watch it because it's pretty crazy and outrageous. Cheryl, yeah, the news on Josh, I think, triggered just about anybody. Anybody who's ever worked with children, anybody that's a grandparent, anyone, it would. So it's just a hard thing to deal with. So I'm going to go again. I know I said earlier I was going to go and I didn't go. Be blessed, be bold, be happy. Happiness is really the best revenge on all your haters.